All right, what's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to my corner of the internet. Welcome to a currently untitled show, but something that I intend on making into a reoccurring thing, however often I can do this. But this is what I'm going to be calling tentatively a podcast, but I would more so call this a variety show, if you will. Um, this is kind of just a space where I can talk about things that I enjoy and maybe just thoughts that I got going on creative wise and just a place to get out thoughts that are really niche, I guess. And hopefully maybe somebody out there will click with the things that I have to say. I don't know. I guess it's literally just a place for me to talk, and I enjoy talking for long periods of time. So that is the plan for this. um, the type of things that I plan on covering is like, and like lately I've been really into Marvel stuff because as a wee child, I was very into comics and I read a lot of the comic stuff, and I'm a very big nerd on that stuff, and I plan on doing a lot of Marvel related stuff, but I also want to talk about like music and stuff like that, and I would enjoy talking about games and stuff like that. Just sort of anything that I'm into currently. I guess I just would like to talk about, and that is what the show is probably going to be. A lot of is just me talking. I guess occasionally I might have a guest or something on because it's fun to talk to other people too. But mainly, this is going to be a lot of me talking about stuff I enjoy, which could just be something you toss on in the background, or maybe you're really into the topic of the episode, or but I don't know. This first episode, I really just kind of want to be casual and just introduce what it's gonna be like. Cause honestly, I don't even know. I've already tried recording the intro to this like a few times, and it's just been mishmash. I just really all I'm trying to get across is like this is not structured. This is not like pre-planned out. I am just going to be off the cuff sort of talking, and I think it could be fun to just like give my um very hyperactive brain something to do for a little bit when I have extra free time. And yeah, um and not to bore all of the people that I know with all the stuff that I love. I tend to talk a lot about it. And so maybe you're like me and you like talking a lot, but basically, I would like to talk for long periods of time about things that I like. So that's what's on my mind here, folks. um so while we're here, I guess we'll start off with something like small. I have a little list that I'm looking off at because there's going to be there's the I am following along on my laptop for the people who are watching and not just listening in the background. Basically, I'm trying to make like a little list of stuff to talk about every week, but right now I kind of just have my general thoughts because I kind of just want to talk about things that I'm planning on doing, but I don't know if that would be fun to listen to as much, so I'm kind of just trying to be off the cuff here. But one of the things I do want to talk about in the future a lot is like album retrospectives, because I tend to be the type of person that when I get into an artist, I listen to the whole discography, and I'm gonna just say dissect everything about every individual song, right? And I tend to be that type of person where it's just like I can't just listen to one of their albums. I gotta know how we got to this point and how we got there, right? So, and granted, there's not like too many bands that I get like head over heels into where I do that, but the ones I do, I have a lot to say about. So I do plan on doing a lot of stuff like that. But that's going to be a little bit more structured out. It's not like going to be super structured in like a video format. This is going to be more so just like, these are my general thoughts about the album, and I'm going to have like a little track by track and album by album, maybe do like an artist retrospective type of thing. I think that could be really cool. And then maybe listen to new artists and give like a whole retrospective of their discography. I really like doing full discography stuff. It's that is how I digest music. I like to listen to albums, not just like singles. I'm not a playlist guy. But yeah. The other thing I really, really, really am planning on doing is there's going to be an MCU related show. I am very head over heels for Marvel stuff right now. 'Cause I just think they're doing it right, man. I think they're doing everything the right way and how any reasonable fan would want it done. You know, like, how can you not like what they're doing right now if you like Marvel content? You know, like, I don't know. I digress. I'm getting on tangents already. See, we're only 5 minutes into this thing, and it's already jumbled and about a bunch of different shit. So, I guess a good place to start for this episode is maybe the title. What I'll end up calling this episode is the current state of Halo. Because I have a lot to say about this shit, and I'm just so baffled at how I've gotten to the point in gaming where I've seen this happen to this game. I mean, god dang. Like, you know what? Screw it. I mean, I'm going to say right now, this is a not safe for work podcast. Fuck it. I'm going to be swearing. Because I am very animated about this, and I just don't understand. Like, God, all right. Before we get into the meat of this, let me just back up and say, I have been a fan of Halo since, like, Halo 3 back in, like, 07, right? Like, I've been a fan for a long time, and I've followed the series for quite a while, I will say. There's something about Halo that just does it for me over other FPS shooters. It's really just the art style and the chaotic nature of the game, and just the non-serious side that the game community can have. It's just the amount of things that you can do in the game for a first-person shooter is just kind of pretty awesome. It's just a good game. Just classic Halo is great. I'm just a big fan. I love Halo 3 and I love Halo Reach. The Forge, I spent countless hours in custom games in those games. Between being able to, like, seriously rank up your dude if you really wanted to get, like, sweaty into the game, or if you just wanted to casually play with your friends and, like, fuck around and Forge or custom games and fly buildings or whatever the fuck, you know, like, that was the fun of Halo. But now I don't know, man. I would even venture out to say I'm a personal fan of Halo 4. Halo 4 is one of the best Halo games ever. I maxed that shit out, the multiplayer and everything, man. But Halo Infinite is just such a... I would even call myself a fan of Halo 5. But man, Halo Infinite is just... it's just something else. Sorry. My phone went on low battery. But, yeah. Halo Infinite, man. The game is just so weird and strange to think about to me right now. It's just like... and it's hard to put my input on this game because granted, anything that you could say about the game has been said. Let's face that. Anything that you could say about Halo Infinite has probably been said already, and it's probably been said way better and way more delicately than I or most other people would put by now. I mean, it is quite the dilemma of just, like it's I don't know. It's just see, I get so animated talking about it already. Just this fucking game. I don't understand what is going on. Like, Microsoft has two exclusive games that sell, right? Like, Halo is the big one, and then it's Gears of War, and they're two exclusives, right? Like, I mean, they have other exclusives, sure, and they just bought Bethesda with the whole Game Pass thing, but we're excluding that. We're talking about right now, not the future, because anything could happen with that. I get that. That makes sense. But for me, what I need to know is how does Microsoft not have the resources to, like, allow 343 to make a good Halo game? Because it feels like, at least with the last two, they've just not been able to fully understand what a Halo game is. Like, I personally was not a fan of the campaign and the way they did the open world and everything like that. I just I don't even know how I got here. That's the funny part. I'm going to excuse my random laughing occasionally, but I will be laughing at just how I've gotten on this tangent. But I don't understand. What I want to know is 343, their only job is to work on Halo. And they can barely even do that. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, what? How? I mean, like, I've seen all this stuff about, like, tons of members of 343 are, like, leaving. And it's just, like, a fucking dumpster fire of a company right now, it seems to work at. Because, like, all of these people are just leaving. Like, the lead multiplayer designer or whatever just left the company. How does Microsoft not know what I just don't. How do they not have the resources to hire more people? I mean, like, I get that they probably just, yeah. That's the confusing thing about the game. Halo is just such a confusing situation because it's made by the company that is owned by, like, the richest guy in the world, right? And I guess it's probably a little bit naive to assume that the richest guy in the world is pouring all of his funds into this, directly back into the company, and, like, as we've seen with Amazon, the workers are probably not treated, like, as fairly as they could be. That being said, I need to know where the resources are going then, because Microsoft is only funding their in-house studios, right? Like, I just see, now I'm entering territory that I'm uneducated in, so I don't want to talk about, like, finances or anything like that. But what I will say is, from a layman's perspective, and I would consider myself the layman, at least give us an explanation as to where 6 years, 7, however long it was of a wait. It was like 8. No, it was 6 years. Where did the time go? What was being worked on? Even if those rumors and all like the insider scoops that were coming out are true about like, oh, they only spent 2 years on it instead of actually 6, like, tell us that, right? Like, as the players of the game, we just need to know what's going on, right? Like, it shouldn't be that hard to hire a social media manager that just is focused on getting that type of message out. That seems like it should be a position that is hired for, because that seems so crucial. It seems so crucial to a team in today's world, like social media climate at least, right? Like, you need constant communication with your audience to like earn their respect, but also just like you keep the flame, you're subduing the flames by doing that, because the longer they stay silent about the state of the game and about everything that's happening and about all the tweets and constant posting about this game, the longer they stay silent about it, the worse the outcry is going to get. We've seen this 100% with so many different things. It's just the longer you go without addressing it, the worse it's going to become for you. You just have to know that. And I mean, the lack of awareness that they've had in recent times is just really, really, it's just like salted the wound almost, you know, like, for example, their whole thing about like that priority bullshit about like, oh, priority 0 is our mental health. Sure, right? You want to keep the team feeling okay because it's probably a really stressful job right now to work at the company, right? But like, if priority 0 is to keep the mental health of the team all right, then shouldn't you hire somebody to alleviate some of the stress on you guys that can communicate, hey, right now we're having a really stressful time, guys. You know, like, I think the whole community would even take a whole step back if we got a post from anybody at 343 saying, hey, we are really going through it. You know, I think it would speak volumes for a lot of people. You know, and that leads me to what I want to talk about next is like, you come to think of like all the things that Halo did for console gaming and for shooter, like FPS shooters and even third person shooters and even like platformers to a certain extent, just creative gaming. It did a lot. Like, a lot of custom gaming started in Halo. I mean, couch co-op started in Halo, right? Like, the foundational like steps that Halo laid as a franchise for gaming is not to be understated. So when you go and play a game like Fortnite, right, and you see how they're doing custom games just infinite, no pun intended, but they're doing it so much better, infinitely better than Halo Infinite. It's just, it further adds to at least personally my confusion, because Halo was once at the top of that, right? Like, they were once the place to go for that type of thing. They were the one-stop shop for all the crazy custom games. I mean, God, I spent so much time playing Duck Hunt and Ghostbusters and Speed Halo and God, like countless other custom games. Trash Compactor, Sacrifice with the lava pit in the middle in Halo 3. Like, there's so much great stuff in that. That was such community building fun. And it was a way to be casual. And I remember even Halo Reach, then they started doing the credits thing, where you could even play custom games and earn credits for doing that. You could play Firefight and earn credit, right? Like Fortnite even allows you to play custom games and earn XP and a lot of XP from it, right? The fact that Halo Infinite had so much going for it, and still does, because at its core, it's still a fun game, but it's like so arcadey of a game to where I can't even find myself caring about doing anything in it, you know? Like, it is a game that I would have fun playing at an arcade, sitting in a booth with a gun and shooting dudes, because the gameplay is fun, right? But there's nothing to do in it. There's no goal to strive for. There's nothing. It's just nothing. All right, sorry about that. My phone cut the video, but as I was saying, that is the sad part to me. I just think Halo could have been so much cooler of a game. Halo Infinite could have been so much more. And at this point, it would be really hard to come back from if they tried to, right? Like, what are they gonna add that half a year after the release they're gonna add 2 maps and game types that have been in all of the past Halos before? Like, people saying that the game needs a battle royale. Like, we need the stuff that was in all of the Halo games before. And how is it that hard to make how is it that hard to create a playlist for matchmaking, right? I can load into like so many other games. I can go into a game that's 10 years old and matchmake that shit, right? That just makes no sense to me. I don't get it. But I digress. That is just the way it goes, I guess, for certain games. Because, we saw stuff like that happen with Cyber. I just hate the current model of being the underdog because you fix the game that you released broken. And at this point, I can't help but think that it was intentional. You guys wanted to put out the game the way you did, because you said, "Oh, we didn't anticipate people wanting this stuff in the game," which is insane. After Halo 5, like, I can't believe I'm saying Halo 5 is a better Halo game, but like it's more fun. There's more to do. There's just so much better about it. That's just so much better of a game. It's an actual game. I can still load into Halo 5 and work towards things. I don't know. The game is frustrating because it's fun. It feels more like a Halo game than Halo 4 and 5 did combined, right? the shop is a whole other thing that we don't even need to talk about. I mean, every game has microtransactions nowadays. It's not like anything that is to be super like wow, like up in arms about, in my opinion. At this point, it's like the least of the problems of the game, but it's still a problem, you know, like when so many aspects about your game are fundamentally flawed, I can't rationalize calling it a good game, you know. And I'm sitting here saying all this, having spent probably like poured a good 100 hours into the game, you know. I have played a good amount of this game because I really wanted to like it, and I played a lot of it, and I did have fun. But then at the end of the day, I find myself going to play other games and immediately getting more hooked in those games because there's so much more to do in it, and there's so much more to go after and play for, and that's why I'm playing video games to accomplish a point, right? Like Halo Infinite is the definition of there is nothing to actually do in the game, because when you do stuff in the matchmaking, obviously, if you've ever played a Halo game, it all resets at the beginning of everything, right? It's not like you're collecting shit. You're not going around doing stuff. In any of the online stuff, you're just buying overpriced microtransactions to make your guy look the way you want, to flex on people that have done the same thing. And that's the extent of the game. That's the extent of the game. Like, you can play if you are really feeling in the mood for Halo and shooting some guys, right? But, like, it's far, far too casual. There's just far too little to do in the game, and it sucks. I guess is my point with this whole rant, is it kind of sucks to just have to deal with that. It's annoying, but what can we do? You know, like, I'm trying to find a point in the things that I said here, but at the end of the day, it's just talking into the aether, right? You know, that is the point of this show. There are things that you can talk about, even if you like them a lot, that at the end of the day, they don't mean a whole lot. They don't go a far way, but they're your thoughts, and they're your way of processing things, you know. Sometimes you just gotta rant about things to get your feelings off your chest, because at the end of the day, I gave them what they wanted anyway. I played the game. I had some amount of fun, so it's not like I wasted my time, but I would further waste my time continuing to play the game in a state that I don't enjoy, right? So I think it's better to distance yourself. If you are feeling the same frustration as a lot of Halo players, I think the best thing to do is to just play other games and lower your expectations. Because if you keep your expectations so high for the game, when they take years, and genuinely I think it will take years to get the game to a place that everybody accepts it. When you have to start waiting years for things that you are hoping and anticipating for, you're going to be so much more let down when they continuously say, sorry. Right? I think it's best, especially with games that have such a rugged launch, to immediately expect everything out of these games is just too much pressure to put on the game. And on the developers and everything. I think it is constructive to get what you want in the game out there, you know? But know that it is your personal wishes, right? If the collective community gets to a point where we're like, yeah, these are things that we want in the game, obviously that's a different story, right? But like, keeping your personal expectations low for what the game should be helps a lot. Because then when you move on to other games and you play those games for a long time, and then you hear about the big Halo update where they're like, we just added 300 game types and all this bullshit, right? Obviously that's an exaggeration, but still, when they do announce a big update like that, you'll be like, holy shit, I can't believe they're actually doing it. But on the other hand, if you set your expectations to be waiting for that, you're going to be like, when the fuck are they going to do this update, man? I'm going to start playing other shit and get bored of this before they add that into the game, right? And then you start resenting the game more and more. You're going to... That's how you burn yourself out of a game. And none of this is meant to be taken super seriously. It's not like I'm like genuinely pissed or like mad or upset about this stuff. This is just things that I get animated about because I'm like, wow, what the fuck? You know, like it sucks to see something you like become something you don't at the end of the day. I'm sure we've all had that experience with an artist that we enjoy, listening to their music, or public figures saying something real bad and you're like, oh shit, I didn't realize you were that kind of guy, you know? Everybody has that type of thing. But the point is, you can be frustrated about things that you like, but still like them. I still like Halo. I just like other things more right now, you know? I want to like Halo a lot. But when other things are just pulling my attention more, I can't force myself to like it. That is what I think I've come to, you know? I'm okay with playing other games and having fun in that because, frankly, the other games are just way more fun. Good gameplay is just not enough. You know, the gameplay is very refined. It feels like a Halo game. But it's all for naught when there's no point. So I just don't give a fuck. I'm just playing Fortnite. Or Pokemon. Legends. Anything that I can sink my teeth into. That is crazy. Especially when it comes to multiplayer games. The fact that Battle Royale games, and I was definitely a person that for a long time was like, I don't know. I'm not really a fan of those, but you try one game and you're just like, well, it's actually kind of fun. But I digress. The point of this is, I hope Halo becomes good, but I'm not expecting it to become good. I'm not going to hold out hope that it becomes the game that I want it to become. Because that's asking a little much. But yeah. You know. You like what you like. If you like the game, I'm not judging you. I just sometimes want more out of a game The campaign is a whole other thing, but that's like that's not a fundamental flaw with the game, because I personally just didn't enjoy it for the way they sidelined Halo 5's story and shoved a lot of the aspects of it into audio logs and stuff. Like, it was way more of a reboot than I anticipated it was going to be, but was it a bad story? No. It just feels like so late in the Halo franchise to where I'm like, I don't want to start over the story again. You know, I wish they would just have continued where it was. It's just so disjointed and messy right now. That's the problem that I had with the story. Is that it doesn't make a trilogy. Now it's like setting itself up for another trilogy. So it's like 4 happens and it's like almost like there's a quadrilogy. Whatever the fuck that term would be. There's a 4-piece. There's a quartet of movies. Or of games. In Halo 1 through 4. Along with ODST and Reach, but side games. There is a core story, at least, that follows 1 to 4. 5 happens. And now it feels like Infinite happens, right? 4 did the best job of connecting itself back to the rest of the Halo franchise, but ever since then, we're like getting farther and farther away from that. And like, I just want to see my boy Arbiter return. I love that guy. That is really all I have to say about Halo for now. I'm sure I'll revisit this topic eventually, but as you can see, I like talking a lot for a long time, just to myself. I can have these thoughts for a while. This was just kind of word salad, this first episode. Just a topic that came to my mind that seems pretty relevant right now. But it was just something I wanted to like toss my hat into the ring, for lack of a better term. I feel like I don't want to say that I have had a perspective that is different from anybody else's, but I feel like I have a perspective that is sort of maybe, if other people were to hear it presented this way, then maybe you could be like, oh yeah, maybe I should just like play something else for a little bit, move on for a little while, and just see what the game has to offer when I come back to it. Because if you're playing it week by week by week, it starts to get really daunting to see just how little there is, you know? Even with games that are considered dead, there's still more to do in those games at this point. Like Marvel's Avengers, for example. A lot of people consider that game dead, but there is so much more to do in that game right now than there is to do in Halo Infinite. And that is like the triplest of AAA titles, you know what I mean? That is what I'm saying. It's just, it's not what you want out of the game. It's not what I want out of the game. But it's kind of just what we got to do right now. I mean, what I'm got to do personally is I just want to take a step back from the game, and I'm just trying other stuff that I have missed out on because I've been in the Halo wave for so long, you know? Like, because Halo has been good for so long. I played a Halo 5 more than I played this game. You know? That's saying something. That's saying something. I think the Halo cycle is kind of true, but not for every era. I think it really is more true now than it ever has been. Halo 4 wasn't that bad of a game. Halo 5 also wasn't that bad of a game. This game is not great. It could be something really good, but right now it's not. I don't like loading in and staring at like the 5 options that I have to do with anything of customization. You know, it's just there are so many. The fact that I'm like 45 minutes into this, and still listing off new issues that I haven't talked about yet is the exact point that that everybody is making, about this game, but that I'm specifically trying to make here is that there are so many things that have to get fixed that are not going to get fixed within the time frame between now and season 2 dropping. It's just not going to happen. There's just no way. So lowering your expectations to a point where you're like, okay, I'm just going to wait for the articles that come out saying, oh shit, Infinite's back, right? That's what I'm waiting for at this point, is just give me the article that says the game is good now. Because then I'll play. I need something to do. Give me a fucking progression system, for fuck's sake. Like, God. Show me a visual number. Give me a number that I can just rank up, right? Like, all Fortnite has to do is just show me a number. And I'm like, all right. I'll do that. I'll level that up, right? It's just, incentive is such a small thing to build in a game. It's such an easy thing to build, If you reward your players the proper way, it is such an easy thing to get people into. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I disliked Fortnite for a very long time, but when you play it and you realize how much incentive they give you to play the game, it's hard to not like it because they want you to like it real bad. There's just so many different ways to approach the game. There's so many ways to express yourself as what you want to show up as, and Fortnite is really fun. I never thought I'd be saying that, but it's quite a fun game. I'm trying to get that Doctor Strange skin because that is my guy. But it's a fun game regardless. And I'm usually the type of guy that just likes playing the game for cosmetics. Which is insane why I don't like Halo Infinite. I should be spending tons of money on that game. But I'm not, because I don't care. Yeah. It's a strange time for Xbox gaming, I might as well get a PlayStation. Half of the games that I enjoy are not console exclusives at this point. I have my Pokemon machine with the Switch, right? But which is a whole rant in and of itself. I mean, you're playing like one of 3 games if you have a Switch, right? Like, excuse me. So, I guess to wrap this up, because I don't really know how I'm going to end these, maybe I'll give sort of like a point and just like wrap my thoughts up. See, we're still in the tentative, very, very loose era of this whole thing. I'm probably going to up the camera recording quality next episode even and whatnot, but either way, moral of the story is, I guess maybe the way I wrap these up is, I'll toss it to you. What are your thoughts on the Halo, for lack of a better term, what are your thoughts on the Halo Infinite crisis right now? It is kind of just a dumpster fire of gaming, and it's a very interesting specific case because I've seen it talked about more than like Cyberpunk, even to an extent. It's just been ripped apart so much. There's so many different perspectives on the game, and a lot of people have a lot to say about it, and I'm interested to hear your feedback on it. I would like to know, I would like to start a conversation, because there's a lot of different ways to look at the game, and a lot of different conversations to be had around it. Let's let's pick each other's brains about it. Let's see what you got to say. I'm interested because at the end of the day, I like Halo. I'm a Halo fan. I want to get back to loving Halo because right now I can't say I'm too happy with it. You know, it's sad. I would like to be more into it. But I digress. That is where I'm going to call this for now. That was fun. Definitely going to be doing more of this. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, consider dropping a like, maybe subscribing to this channel. I'll hopefully get better at doing some intros and outros, but I don't think it's going too bad. I'm kind of just like talking and chilling. But yeah, I'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed this long form content. Peace out.